So in the last lecture, we had discussed some sums regarding the analysis and design portion. We will continue with the design sums, and in the later on in the video, we will see a typical sum of design that is somewhat change, or that is somewhat different than what we have seen till now. So starting with today's sum, that is our first sum of design. The question here is, determine the area of tension reinforcement for a T-beam to resist a factor moment of 300 kilonewton into meter. As it is given as factor moment, there is no need again to multiply it by 1.5. The grade of concrete is M20 and the grade of steel is given as Fe415. Now the width of flange is given here as 1400 mm. The width of web, that is our BW, is specified as 300 mm. The thickness of flange, that means it is our DF, is given as 100 mm, and the effective depth, that means the small d is given here as 700 mm. And we need to find, or we need to determine the area of tension reinforcement, that means AST. So proceeding to any design sum or any design problem, there is a thing to be kept in mind, that we need to find we need to find AST, and AST can be obtained only from one equation, that is M equal to T into Z. So design problem is just a one-step problem. We need to use this equation, that is M equal to T into Z, to solve our AST, or to calculate our area of steel. And then after calculating the area of steel, the only thing that is required is the check whether we have provided the sufficient amount of steel or not. Clear? So we'll start with the sum. The first thing will be to find the lever arm, that is Z. For a T-beam, lever arm will be D minus DF by 2. It comes out to be 650 mm. And then we will be using this equation, that is Mu equal to T into Z. T being 0.87 Fi AST, and Z, that is our lever arm. So 0.87 Fi AST will be the unknown factor that we need to find out, and this will be our Mu. And keep in mind, Mu should be in Newton into mm, as the right hand side portion or the left hand side portion is also in Newton into mm. So it should be in the power of 10 raised to 6. Solving it, will be getting an answer AST equal to 1278 mm square. Now you need to provide the amount of steel, and to provide the amount of steel, we will obviously referring our steel table. So from steel table, I have selected 5 numbers of 20 mm die bar. You can provide any quantity. Just keep in mind that the AST that is required must be less than what is provided. That means we need to provide a higher amount than what is required. Just that is to keep in mind. And again, the range should be from 14 to 28. Okay, you can go up to plus or minus 1, that is you can go up to 12 or you can go up to 30, but generally if it is possible or if it is feasible, keep the range in between 14 to 28. Again, number of bars should be 2 to 6. Clear? So from this matrix you can plot or you can assume any of the given value. I have considered here 5 numbers of 20 mm diameter bars. So you can see here that it is 15 or 15.71, but as it is given in centimeter square, the conversion will be 1571 mm square. So this our design problem is completed. But now for our GTO examination, we need to prove that whether we have provided the sufficient amount of steel or not. So for that we will be doing the whole analysis problem again. So starting with the calculation of FC and FT. So this is our FC, this will be our FT from the same equation. FC will be from the equation 0.36 FCK BF DF, and FT can be calculated from the equation 0.87 Fi AST. But keep in mind, you need to substitute the area provided. Clear? Again, you need to substitute the value of the area of steel provided, that is after providing number of bars that you may have selected. It may vary from student to student. So you can get this both relation. In this case, it is obtained that FC is greater than FT. In the last lecture that we have seen the similar kind of sum, we got the equation that FT was greater than FC. And in this case, we are getting the equation that FC is greater than FT. That means compression force is higher as compared to tension. So our neutral axis will be in flange. Okay? And as the neutral axis is in flange, XU will be less than df. So now moving on to page number 96 of your IS code, we can see here that clause G 2.1 is specified, and it is said that for XU is less than df, the moment of resistance may be calculated from the equation in G 2.1. That means it can be calculated from our singly RC equations. Okay. So moving on to the singly RC equation, it is on the same page. We need to find first the XU. XU can be obtained from this equation, that is 0.87 FIST upon 0.3 FCK B, and solving this XU comes out to be 56.27. Solving this equation from G 2.1, XU comes out to be 56.27, which is less than our DF that was given in question 100. So it is okay, that means it is satisfied. XU is less than DF. So moving forward, we need to find the moment of resistance. So moment of resistance can be equated or can be calculated from using either the equation from clause B or from clause C. So how to determine which clause to use? So for that we will be comparing XU and XU max. XU we have already obtained, its answer is 56.27. So now we will be calculating XU max, and XU max can be calculated from page 70 as we have seen already. Yeah? So XU max, the equation will be 0.48 D, and the answer comes out to be 336 mm. As XU is less than XU max, we will be using this equation, that is from clause B, to solve our MU. And keep in mind, we are not finding MU, we are just proving that the MU that is obtained from the equation is greater than what is given in the question. Yeah? To prove that the sufficient amount of steel or the sufficient amount of quantity of steel we have provided. So we need to calculate MU. And again, keep in mind, this answer should be greater than 300 kilonewton meter, and you need to mention it also. So mention it as greater than 300 kilonewton meter. Therefore, okay, as the factor moment was given in question as 300 kilonewton into meter. Yeah. So this is our first design example. Moving on to the next example, it is a typical example, so please keep a note of it. It says that design a T-beam for effective span of 6 meter, that is 6 meter effective span is given. It has to support a concrete slab of 125 mm thick. That means this 125 mm thick is the value of DF. DF is mentioned as 125 mm thick concrete slab with a live load of 3 kilonewton per meter square. This is something new. We have not seen anything like this in the previous videos or previous lectures, that a live load is given in the question. So how to deal with it, we will see further on. And the spacing of beam is given as 3 meters. That means two types of lengths are given in this question. First, the effective span is given as 6 meters and the spacing between beams is given as 3 meters. Now which length pertains to which values, we need to focus on that. And general grade of concrete and steel are being prescribed. For that, or for to understand this question, we will be referring the figure pertaining to it. So let us take an example. This is our T section that is being given. Till now we were designing only one T-beam, that is a particular T-beam. Now we are designing the combinations. Clear? So for these combinations, the spacing of beam is provided. Generally, effective span was provided to find the equation of MU, that is for a UDL MU will be WL square by 8. So that length will be our effective length. But whenever in the question spacing of beam is provided, that means it is the distance between two consecutive beams. Yeah? That means we are dealing with one or more beams. Whenever in question spacing of beam is given, it is a typical question, so keep in mind is. So first of all, we will just see through what are the dimensions that are being provided and what are the dimensions we need to find out. So let us take an example. As we can see in the figure, the BF, BW and DF. First starting with the DF. DF, that means our thickness of slab. So this will be our thickness of slab as it is given in the question. Keep in mind, as we are talking about continuous beams, the width of flange won't be between a particular beam to next consecutive beam. the width of flange will be this distance only. That means a section above beam on a slab. A section above beam on a slab, not the whole portion of the slab. So this will be our BF, and the middle portion that is left, that is this hedge portion, this will be acting as only slab. It won't be acting as a T-beam. This middle, that is hedge portion I have done, it will be acting only as a slab portion, whereas this portion of slab that I am highlighting now will be acting as a T-beam. This is the basic difference between both the sections that have been plotted. So this will be our BF. Both the quantities will be same as we are designing a T-beam, and this will be our BW, that means width of web. And the next term that we will be dealing with is the spacing of beams. Spacing of beams means the distance between two consecutive beams, and keep in mind spacing of beams is always center to center distance. Clear? It is not considered as clear span, it is always considered as effective span. Whenever spacing is provided in a question, we will always be taking that as effective span. So this will be the center of first beam, and this will be a center of second beam. So this center to center distance will be our 3 meter span that is being prescribed in this question. And if we take a 3D view of this, here we can see the length of the beam. Clear? Here we can see the length of the beam in a 3-dimensional body. So this length will be 6 meters, which we are not visualizing it in a 2D structure. If we take a 3D structure of it, we can see this 6 meter length. So this is the basic difference between the 6 meter length and the 3 meter length that we'll be dealing with. Now what parameters are given and what parameters we need to find out. In the question, only the term DF is being prescribed. Other terms we need to find out. For example, till now, which all sums we have deal with, we have already given in question the following sums. That means the equations are prescribed, or the parameters were prescribed, like BF, that is width of flange was given, BW, width of web was given, effective depth, small d, or overall depth, everything was given. But here we need to find each and every dimension. Only the portion that is given is the depth of flange, that means DF. So we need to find out here BF, BW, small d, and capital D. So this will be our primary focus, to find out the dimensions that are not been given. And as it is a design problem, it will start with an assumption. Keep in mind, whenever we will be undergoing any design problems or designing the dimensions, it will always start with an assumption. So starting with it, first the span of the beam is being given, and for every T-beam design problems, that means whenever the spacing and all this stuffs are given, we always will be assuming the depth of beam to be L by 12 to L by 10. That is length upon 12 to length upon 10. We'll be always taking this ratio to find out the depth of beam. Clear? And this depth will be neither effective depth nor our overall depth. This will be our depth of beam. That means this will be only this distance. That is our web portion. Clear? Either we can say the web portion, or we can say that our the bottom portion of the below the neutral axis. Clear? So this will be our this depth that we are dealing with. Here we are considering two portions, that is slab portion and beam portion. So beam portion will be our web portion and slab portion will be our flange portion. So the equation that we will be taking will be between L by 12 to L by 10, and this will be only, again referring only, will be the depth of web here. So the ratio, that is L, that is our effective span or the distance of beam. So it will be 6 meters, that for substituting it in mm, it comes out to be 6000. So the ratio is 6000 by 12 to 6000 by 10, that means 500 to 600 mm. We can assume any value between 500 to 600 mm. I have taken the depth of web to be 500 mm. For exam purpose, you can take any value between these numbers. So I have taken the depth of web to be 500 mm. So now we will be calculating the overall depth. That means this portion will be 500 mm. That is our web portion, and the total beam comprises of web and slab. So we'll be, to find the overall depth, will be adding the web portion and this slab portion. So overall depth will be 500 plus 125, and this 125 is our df, that is depth of flange. So overall depth comes out to be 625. This is our capital D. Clear? So we have identified capital D using this equation, and from this we will be finding small d. So small d will always be d minus cover. Cover, as it is a design example, will not be given in the question, so we'll always be assuming it to be 50 mm. So small d here comes out to be 575 mm. Yeah? So these are our basic dimensions that we have find, that is our depth of web and our overall depth, that means our effective depth and overall depth. Now we will be needing BW and BF, or the width of flange and width of web. Width of web cannot be found from any equations given in our IS code or either in SP16. So we will always be assuming a particular value for width of web. For any example, whenever width of web is not provided in the question, we will always take width of web to be 300 mm. So taking or assuming width of web to be 300 mm, we need to find width of flange. This a mini sum we already discussed in the last lectures, that to find width of web will be referring to page 37. To find width of web, we will be referring to page 37 of your IS code. As it is given a T-beam, the equation of BF will be BF equal to L0 by 6 plus BW plus 6 DF. This will be our equation through which we will be calculating BF, that is our width of flange. Clear? So L0, that means our effective length. Length is given in question as 6 meters. So it will be 6000 divided by 6 plus BW. We will always be assuming BW to be 300 mm, and plus 6 into DF. DF, that is depth of flange, is given in question as 125. So the width of flange here comes out to be 2050 mm. That is BF is equal to 2050 mm. So now we have calculated the dimensions. So dimensions are being calculated. Now we will be finding load. And again, this is a typical sum, as in the question live load is given. Clear? So we will be finding here three kinds of load, that is load of slab portion, load of web portion, and the live load. We will be discussing these three terms. That means first of all, for a T, we will be finding load of slab, then we will be finding load of this web, and then we will be adding live load to it. Yeah? So first, for dead load of slab, we need to take the dimensions of slab. Clear? And dimensions of slab, for taking dimension, we will always take this spacing of beam. Clear? So this is L, that is our spacing of beam, not effective length. It is our spacing of beam into DF. This will be our L into DF, that is spacing of beam into our depth of flange. So this will be our area multiplied by density. To find self-weight, the equation is always area into density. Yeah? So density of RCC will be 25 kN per meter cube, and multiplying by L and DF, that is length and our depth of flange, the value comes out to be 9.375 kilonewton into meter. So the length, so the dimensions or the weight of slab is completed. Now we will be focusing to the web portion. Again, keep in mind, we are only dealing with this web portion. So we won't be using either capital D or small d. We will be using this term, that is depth of web, that we have calculated. Clear? So small d or capital D won't be used in this case. We will be using the depth of web. Dead load of rib, or you can say dead load of web. It's the area into our density. So this is area and this term is our density. Area, that means our cross section area, that is, this is BW and this is our depth. And depth, as we have taken, is 500 mm. So converting into 500 mm, converting into meter, it will be 0.5, and this is our BW. BW we have assumed it to be 0.3 meter or 300 mm. So the area of this web will be 0.3 into 0.5 and 25, that is our density of RCC. Clear? So solving it, we will be getting an answer 3.75. And the third term that is to be found is the live load. And live load is given in question as 3 kilonewton per meter square. Then why to find it? Keep in mind, we are always equating, or we are always substituting the terms in the form of UDL. Every load we are substituting in the form of UDL. So you can just see by the units that whether it is specified as a UDL or not. Here in question it is given the unit as 3 kilonewton per meter square, and for a UDL it needs to be in the form of kilonewton per meter. So we'll be multiplying it by length, and which length? It will be our spacing. Clear? So the live load or the final live load will be 3 into 3, and 3 being our spacing of beam. It comes out to be 9. Summation of all these three terms will be our total load acting on beam. So total load acting on beam is 22.125. Again, total load acting on beam is 22.125 kilonewton per meter. Keep in mind, whenever we are using dimensions to find load, this load will always be a working load. Whenever we are using dimensions to find a load, the load that is found will always be a working load. So the next step will be to find the factored load. So as the working load is 22.125, the factored load will be 1.5 into 22.125. That comes out to be 33.2. And we have calculated this whole thing just to find mu, that is moment of resistance. So mu or factored moment. So factored moment will be WL square by 8. Clear? Factored moment will be WL square by 8 for a UDL and a simply supported beam, which comes out in this case to be 149.4 kilonewton into meter. And our question was to design the beam. Again, design is comprises of two portions, that is to find dimensions and to find the steel. So till now we have found out the dimensions, and now we'll be proceeding towards the quantity of steel. And to find the quantity of steel, there is only one equation that has to be used. It is M equal to T into Z. We will always use this equation to find the quantity of steel. Clear? And this will be our M, that is moment of resistance, which we have calculated now. So in the RHS portion, that is T into Z, T will be 0.87 Fi AST and Z will be D minus DF by 2. Clear? So which comes out to be this value, and solving it we get AST equal to 807.4. Solving it we get AST equal to 807.4 mm square. Now the question can be asked in two parts. The question that we have seen, it can be asked as this, or it can be also asked further on that check or provide sufficient checks, or it can be written as checks are required. So if it is mentioned checks are required, then after this we will be solving or we will be analyzing this portion that we have already done previously, that is finding FT/FC to prove the relation between FT and FC, then to either use 2.1, either use 2.2 or either use 2.3, and then we will be finding mu. So the mu calculated by this should be greater than 149.4. This will be our check. So whenever in questions if it is asked that provide check, then and then only we will proceed further, else you will find AST provided. Keep in mind the answer is not completed here. This value is only our AST required. You will find AST provided from the steel table. So from this steel table you can plot any value. I have not mentioned any value, it is up to you. You can take any value between this range and solve the sum. Clear? So that sum will be completed. You must find AST provided. And again, if it is asked to check, then and then only we will analyze it further. Clear? So this will be our exercise problem today. As we have seen something new or something new example, keep this problem with you and solve it. Also keep in mind here checks are required is mentioned. Yeah? So solve it accordingly, and we will be seeing in the next lecture.